Hello, today I'm going to be showing you how I make my sloe gin. Now, it's been a, shall we say, rural country craft which has been practiced for years, and indeed all you're doing is supplementing a taste or a texture with that taste to a gin that has already been manufactured and processed. So you're not making the alcoholic beverage, you're supplementing a taste to it. Now, there are a multitude of recipes and people have their own closely guarded secrets and versions, but I'll show you mine, and that's a good baseline to then go on and perfect your own, shall we say, crafted variants of sloe gin. I actually have one here which I have ready for Christmas. It's got another few weeks, and then I shall be sampling that and I shall be enjoying it. And it's always good to show, shall I say, people that don't understand how you get those flavours into the product, how you go about doing it. It is very simple, and it opens up a world of other, shall we say, tantalising options for flavours that you can put in it to suit your own personal tastes, and it is quite fun. But what I'm about to show you is a good baseline for you then to move on and experiment over the years till you craft your very own recipe. Well, it all starts with the blackthorn bush. I'm not actually going to labour on this point too much because I shall probably do that on how you identify this species later on, shall I say. So, and to be honest with you, if you're picking berries from the wild, or in this case sloes, and that depends on how you say it. I mean, like I said, obviously I'm from the southwest of Cornwall. I have a very strong southwest accent, and I pronounce it as sloth or sloths. Yeah, that, shall I say, in itself is a separate subject on plant identification. But I do actually have one in my back hedge. I can give you a rough glimpse of what it looks like in its winter, shall we say, look. It is heavily cut back because obviously I'm looking to keep my views down over the valley. Ironically, today we've got a heavy mist rolling in off the moors. There's no view, but I'll just quickly show. But yet again, I will stress this: never pick or consume anything from the wild unless you're 100% sure what you're picking, you know what it is and how to prepare it. So I'll just get that out, and always seek some advice on what you're looking to pick. But I'm just going to show you this bush in the back of my garden hedge. Right, here it is. It has one of the buddleias we take cuttings and breed from beside it. But yes, you can see basically down here that it has a slightly purplish, very, should we say, almost reddish kind of bark. This one obviously is heavily cut back and is never allowed to get to its full potential. But occasionally, every few years, I might get a few berries from this bush, but it's nothing to write home about. What makes this, shall we say, bush, shall we say, problematic is, as I can show you here, look at the length of that thorn. If that runs into you, you're into, shall we say, a world of hurt. And they do tend to carry a lot of bacteria and issues and things like that. And as somebody like myself who's allergic to penicillin, I've actually had to seek medical help when I've got these run into me as my hand swells up. Yeah, so that is what the bush looks like as a starting point at this time of year, which is in the winter. I will run through these ingredients in a moment, but as you can see, the gin itself is crystal clear, and as you can see, mine is gone like a blood cherry red, and I still have a lot of berries in the bottom. Now, some people in their variants would say don't leave the berries in. This is a little bit ass about face, but I'm just going to stress about that particular topic I just mentioned to you then. I don't take the berries out. I leave the berries in, and it gets stronger and stronger flavoured as I drink all the SLOE GIN. Now, I do like that rough texture of having the very small fine particles of the berries in the drink. So when you drink, you sip it, and then you can roll the, should we say, the gin infused flesh around your mouth as a texture, then gently take that back. I find that a nice pleasant experience, and it feels kind of very organic. But if you didn't want that experience, obviously once you've crafted your final product, you will have to sterilize a container, and then you would have to get a sieve and with muslin cloth or something like that, where you can tip the product in, strain out all the, should we say, berries and excess fibres, and then put that clear product back in the jar. So you would end up with a clear coloured alcoholic drink, which would have none of those bits in it. I like it, like I said, and I find quite a lot of people find that an interesting drinking experience, because rather than knocking it back, you sip it and then you have to kind of like feel your way around, shall we say, those fleshy bits, and then take that back. And it adds a certain kind of rawness and rural quality to my particular variant. Right then, I'm just going to run this through. I've got sugar, which I will measure out by the teaspoon. I've got my SLOEs, my berries, which they're frozen ones, because obviously that one you've just seen, that red one, was manufactured at the beginning of autumn when the berries were just gone to, shall we say, ripe enough for me to pick. The rest were frozen till I could make my next batch, and this batch will be possibly for May. Around that time, I'm thinking kind of like a birthday drink for myself. These are like special occasion drinks, I make that. This variant though, as you can see, I'm going to use lemons and limes as well to supplement the flavours. Yet again, you can probably see from my other drink, that red one was just SLOEs. I'm now going to infuse lemon and lime with this to add a slightly different kick. And that's what I'm saying, you have the options to craft your own flavours. Talking about the gin. Now, I always use the cheapest gin I can get. A lot of people would now be at this point, you know, saying that is the wrong way to go. It may be. I've not come across a problem with making my SLOE GIN in this particular way, and it all comes down to personal taste. It is, shall we say, from a well-known supermarket, so here in the UK, so it does have some sort of quality with it, but obviously it's not a named brand, so I'm not going to labour on that. That will be a choice you make on the type of raw gin product that you start with. But it definitely needs to be one that isn't flavoured or heavily flavoured to start with. Right then, first thing I've got to do is take some of this gin out, because obviously, as you can see, it's up to the neck, and I'm putting in a quantity of organic products in here, and basic physics, it's not going to go in, it's just going to come out. So basically I've got to empty some of this out, and that will be down to your discretion on how much trial and error, what you think your volume you're going to put in to the volume that's going to come out. But you do need to leave at least an inch in the neck where you can, with the raw product, as I will demonstrate, every few weeks do this, and as you can see it's coming down, the berries are coming down, going to the top. That's allowing you to keep the actual flavours moving within the gin and over the berries and whatever items you got in there to flavour, so you can keep everything stirred and keep everything moving, so allow the flavours to infuse fully. So bear that in mind, you do have to have a small bit of room to allow that to happen in itself. So I'm now going to take some out of here and I'm going to put some of this in my hiking hip flask, so it's not going to waste. Right, I've completed that task. I've had to use a flask to put some of it in there as well. So obviously when I next go for a hike on the moors, I could be, shall we say, a little bit happier than possibly the weather conditions say I should be. But as you can see, I now have this down to a level I can now add my product in, or shall we say berries and lemons and limes. So I'm going to start getting that ready and I'll show you what I do next. Right then, I've taken the lid off and as you can see here, I've got my SLOE berry. I do prefer fresh berries, but obviously I need to take this through the season and I don't waste anything, and there should be no problem. I've done it many times. Obviously people do argue things that have come frozen don't carry the same flavours and actual nutrient value. I'm not a nutritionist or a scientist, so I don't know what the true form of that is, but I do know that these berries, because I've done it many times, if they have been frozen and within a reasonable time frame, and this is well within sort of like the 3 months sort of bracket, they're certainly good enough to use and I don't detect any loss of flavour or texture. But anyway, once you've got the berries, I just get the knife and very gently I cut around the flesh, not cutting it in half because there's a stone inside, just to open it up basically, and then it is literally a case of pushing it in. There, drop that one in. So repeat the process here. I'm just going right the way around. Now inside a SLOE there is a big stone. I put that in as well. I don't remove that because obviously that stone carries flavour in itself. Like I said, I'm producing a product which I like to say and feel is rural, and it holds the true value to that berry and plant, and indeed I would argue the region I'm taking this from, which in itself is Cornwall. So I'm saying my product is a good representation taste wise of where I'm from, and hence if whiskies and that can say that from Scotland and various other products, shall we say champagne from the Champagne region in France, hey, why not me say this being from Cornwall, you're getting a full taste of Cornwall. Right then, I've filled it to how I'm going to leave this with the amount of SLOEs in it, which I will quickly show you, which is to this volume. As you will see, it hasn't turned anything red or cherry red like the yellow one. That is only when the flavours and the berries start infusing, and it could take many weeks for you to get to that particular colour I've just showed you. Obviously it's dependent on the quality and the actual amount of berries you're putting in. But yes, this doesn't have as much as I've put in the other one. I'll just quickly show you. As you can see, there, if you can see, there's definitely more inside this one. It's a bit hard. As you can see, yes, you can see there's a lot more. As you can see, I'm making room for the lemons and limes this time round. So, you know, as you can see, I'm doing it slightly on the cuff. I mean, there's probably people who've got precise measurements for you, but hey, I'm not that type of guy. It stays up here roughly, and it's all, you know, trial and error. But I do know that's possibly going to be what I'm aiming for. So now I'm going to cut up those lemon limes to the size and measurement I'm going to be able to get in there. So I'm not going to have those nice round or half moon shapes you might see on the dishes on the pub counters. I'm basically just aiming to get that lemon and lime in that hole. So I'm going to do that and I'll catch you in a moment. Right then, I've cut that lemon and lime up. I've got half a lemon and half a lime cut up, which is going to go in the actual bottle. I'm then going to crush the other half down, extract the juice, and then tip that in the bottle. As you can see, there's no hard fast rules. You're making a drink to however you feel you want to do it, and that's the beauty, and it's the fun. Um, I usually wait between 3 and 4 months to sample the product, and you need that sort of time to let all those flavours infuse. But yeah, you can just see what I've done there, and now I'm going to get and put this in the actual bottle. Right, you can obviously see where I'm going with this, and it is just a case of me stuffing it in the bottle. Yeah, no hard fast rules, just get it in the bottle. As you can see, I might need a knife to push it down, and I'm lucky I'm wearing glasses, so I'm not getting any lime or lemon juice squirted in my eyes, but plop straight in there, piece of lime and a piece of lemon, another piece of lime, and I'll continue doing this till I get everything I want in there. There, you get the idea? Right, I now have the lemon and lime pieces in there. As you can see, they're in. There's a couple of lemon pieces floating there. They obviously don't want to go in, but they're in there. So right then, next step is I'm going to crush up the remaining lemon and lime, make the juice from it. I'm doing this, I don't have a crusher or a juice extractor, so I've just got a kid's plastic container. I'm going to put the individual lemon and lime in there. I've got an old ice cream scoop, which is hard as nails. I'm just going to crush it, get as much juice, and then tip in there. I've now achieved that. I've got a cupful, should I say an egg cup full of juice, and I'm going to tip it in here now, and then we'll move on to our particular should we say sweetening method, which I'm going to use sugar, and I'll just show you how I start my baseline as regards to sugar. As you can see, it's got a little bit messy and sticky here already, and you can see it's getting quite full now. So basically that rest of that room that I'm going to be adding stuff to is actually going to be the actual sugar. So to get the sugar in, obviously if I tip it everywhere it's going to be a mess, so I'm just going to get an A4 piece of paper and make a funnel, and I'll show you that now. So what I've done, I've just got a piece of A4 paper, something that you can get from your kids' homework bag or something like that, and just made a funnel, because obviously sugar is going to make one hell of a mess as soon as it touches any form of liquid. So basically, yeah, just pop it straight in, and now I have a funnel I can tip sugar in to go in there without making a mess. For me, and this red one, which is just SLOE's, 3 heaped teaspoons gives me my starting point. Some years I don't have to add any more when I taste it, shall I say, a month before I'm going to consume it. And there's been months where I've thought, another half a teaspoon, possibly even a teaspoon. But that will depend on the particular bush I'm taking the actual berries from, and indeed the year by year the berries have slightly different should we say properties, which means you might have to add that little bit more sugar or not. But for my just SLOE's in a 1.5 litre bottle is for me 3 heaped teaspoons. This being lemon and lime, my starting point, obviously, as you can imagine, this is going to be a lot more bitter to start with now, or is going to have those acidic qualities. I'm going to start with 4 for this one. You can always add more sugar. You can't take it back out once you've put it in. But I'm surmising and in my head just saying I've added, should we say, half a lemon, half a lime, and the juice from the other halves that I crushed down. I'm already putting a lot more, shall we say, stuff within this drink which will require sweetening. So I'm going to start with 4 on this one, and that may be enough at the end of the day. But yeah, the red one was 3 to start with. Well, I've just added 1 and try not to spill. I'm adding another one now. Very carefully. That's 2. 3. 4. I'm going to leave it there. I think that's going to be adequate. And this volume here now, I'm going to just top it up with a bit of the gin that I took out and put in my hip flask. Like I said, I'm looking for roughly about 1 inch from the actual top, just to give me that room where I can actually shake it and move everything about. So here I am, about to reconstitute this drink with a little bit more of that gin I took out to start with. Just bringing it up, a bit more. There, I'd say that's enough. Right, now I've got to get this, put the lid back on. I'll just give that a quick wipe around the threads in the top with a baby wipe, reseal it and give it a good shake. Right then, just giving it a little wipe up around the threads, not going to the inside of the bottle. You are trying to keep this, as even though it's an alcoholic product and it's already been produced, obviously cleanliness, you want to ensure that you're not actually getting any, should we say, unwanted items, particles, or introducing any contamination to that product. So you're always trying to be aware and careful of what you're doing there. I've just cleaned that with a baby wipe, and I'm going to now put the lid on. Now what I'm going to do here now is just lift it up, and you can see it's got a very slight pinkish tint. Now those berries, possibly because they were frozen, the fibres are broken as it's defrosted, and that's releasing a lot of the colours and flavours already. It can take, a couple of days just to get to this, but like I said, this is definitely going to be a nice birthday drink for myself and anybody else that's around with me. You can see the sugar sitting in the bottom. That's just drifted down through. You got the sloes and you got the limes and lemons on top. It does actually look like quite nice to drink. I've drunk worse than that in my time, shall I say, when I've been out and about. But anyway, so I'm going to give this a shake just to infuse it as a starting point. I would suggest you do that at least once a week while it's all infusing, and then when you get to that, should we say, month before you're going to consume, and you're just going to have a very small tipple just to taste to see how you feel regards to sweetness, that you may need to put another tablespoon in. Just give it another shake, should we say, every week from then on till you consume. But anyway, let's just give this a good... As you can see, you need that little bit of room at the top, as you can see, just to allow the air to infuse in it at the top as well. Give it a good old shake. You're really trying to shake it all up, just as the starting point. Right, you can see now it's gone all cloudy and it's all settling down. I've still got sugar there. Now you won't shake all that into the drink. It's not going to dissolve that quick. Like I said, I'm just let it all settle, have a quick little look. I'm going to give it another one. I will have to put this in a cupboard out of sunlight. I do know that, and I've read that sunlight can affect the actual product itself, or shall we say the organic products in it, the SLOEs and that. I think it's to do with the chemical processes in the berries and that. It reacts to the sunlight and it can produce slightly off flavours. So yes, you want to store this out of direct sunlight at least, but you know, most of us have got like a cupboard or under the bed or somewhere out of sunlight, possibly in the dark, that I would suggest I do anyway. I stick it in a dark cupboard and forget about it. But yes, I would suggest doing that. I do know and I have read that that sunlight, it is a proven fact, can affect the chemical composition and indeed the overall flavour. So yes, store in a dark place, particularly while it's going through this process of infusing. Once you remove the berries and everything like that, if you're going down that route, I would probably suspect that you're taking a lot of that issue away, but yet again, still keep it in a dark place. Right, you will probably see that there will still be sugar settling there. I can see very small amounts, not like it was just a minute ago. But yeah, I'm now happy with that, and that's going to go in a cupboard and I'm going to forget about it for a while now. And in a week's time, I give it another shake. It'll gradually get redder and redder and redder. I don't suspect it will get as fully red as this one, because this is totally sloes and is carrying more sloes in the bottle. But yet again, I hope you can quite happily see my process there, how simple it is, and how much fun it will be now to test them and play around. I've got many more varieties that I want to make and try, but obviously I'm not too big. I don't drink, shall we say, the vast quantities needed to make this, shall I say, my sole hobby. But no, yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching how I do my, shall we say, sloe gin.